Welcome everybody to Tights Frame of Mind, episode 20. I am Pantyhose King, and with me is
The one, the only, Rob speaking.
mm-hmm. And Rob Speed King. What are we going to focus on in this episode? Because last episode we talked about we challenged some people to uh
Oh, yes. Oh,
to uh sh-
my.
to show their faces, and why don't you tell everybody about the results of that?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. There was some. Hold on. Let me take my glasses off for this one because, gang, sit back, relax, put on your best pantyhose, get your favorite coffee, beer. I don't care what you imbibe in. By the way, I'm having my coffee enema right now because I got to get my
I
shitty thoughts
wouldn't
out.
drink rubbing alcohol. I hear that makes you go blind.
It'll blunt everything. Uh, we had two wonderful hosters who are listeners who are fans, and they actually showed their face. I got to give them a big shout out. One of them is my friend Amsafilo.
Yeah, I thought it was Umsafil. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure how to pronounce it, but they debuted for the first time ever.
Yeah, and he showed his face. And he was one of the people that we talked about last episode, where he dealt with harassment, hence why he never did it. Um, on the other hand, we have a longtime friend, one of our Patreons, actually showed his face.
Yes,
Our friend Jamie, Jamie.
Jamie, previous guest, wonderful person. He's an Aussie, so
Yes.
he's got that accent. He's got that wonderful accent.
Oh, you got that Aussie accent. Oh
Oh, your
yeah,
accent's terrible. What are you
oh
doing
yeah.
over there? No, that's
I
good.
do
No.
I do a better Cockney than I do an
Well,
Aussie. I
we
still got
didn't
to work on
have
my
Eliza
Aussie.
Doolittle show her face, did we? Now we had Jamie. Now, if
Yes.
but okay, but I do want to say this. I after a little bit of talking to Umsafilo, now apparently he is addicted to taking pictures of showing his face.
Yes. Oh my God. He was talking to me in DMs, and he said, "Dude, I got to tell you, I'm so addicted to this now." He goes, I don't know if I can stop."
There's no reason to stop. And
No.
as a matter of fact, we are going to now officially make this a running thing where we're going to challenge our listeners each time to do the same thing. If you're going to take a picture of showing your face inside the house, or you can take a picture showing your face outside the house while you're wearing pantyhose, we will have rewards for that. And it's, I mean, I feel like it's just, tackling the problem, like the issue, like piece by piece, but it felt so good, didn't it? It was like,
Oh man, I was so excited. These guys when they talk to me, and I know when they talk to you, I mean, you were just ecstatic. Oh my gosh. I feel
yeah,
like it was victorious. It was an absolute victory for men in pantyhose.
yeah, I think so. And I think there's a big tide, like there's a big sea change happening. I think people are finally starting to get it. I think this is the first of the beginnings of this happening, but we're going to continue to push for it because we and the answers that we got back from both of them was, what was the experience? Was it negative? And it was not negative, it was thrilling, and they did it and they thought, wow, that was not as terrifying as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And he tells Umsa Fila tells me how he wears at work. He talks to his manager. The manager, loves the look and everything. They always talk hosiery. So this is a really really good thing. He goes on walks all the time. He does videos. So I mean, it's a major win for men in pantyhose. It's a major win for him, just for that freedom to be able to do that.
Yes, and speaking of awesome people, well, I'm going to do a quick shout out here for some of our patrons. This week we'd like to give a pantyhose shout out to Danielle 35, Higher Lycra, and Sheer NY, which I'm assuming means New York. So Sheer New York, thank you so much for joining up with us. We are looking forward to talking to you, and we love. I mean, we live for interaction. In fact, today we're going to be talking a lot about interaction with the show. Some of it very positive, and one of them, I don't know, Rob. would you say negative would be the word, or do you think scathing would be the word? Because I feel like scathing might be more apt, but I don't know. What do you think?
I would go even further than scathing. I would say it would be searing.
Yeah, there's a searing, scathing. So I don't know. Let's maybe what we could do is we'll start out with the positives because let's go ahead and do that. So we'll
Yeah.
go through some of the comments that we got from some of the listeners. Rob, read them off to me. I'm going to sit back and just do nothing because this is awesome. I'll just be read to.
Okay, so well, of course, one of our listeners, he when he first started listening to the show, um, some of these people I'm going to keep them anonymous just because to protect the innocent or the guilty for that matter. By the
We
way, I
don't
got
dox people here. We don't dox.
exactly. Oh, by the way, I want to say your pantyhose outfit looks fucking awesome today. By the
So
way,
does yours. Oh my god. I mean, like we're kind of matching a little bit. We kind of got the like the black and the shiny going on, right?
well, first of all, thanks for taking the memo. So.
Taking the memo. I didn't take any memo. I did take some like lithium earlier, but I didn't take a memo. But by the way, though,
That's,
if you guys want to see, oh, and guys and gals, because our numbers are showing that we have a female audience of 18%, which
no kidding.
yes, kidding. No, it's not kidding. No, no, for real. We have some lady listeners. So guys and gals, if you want to see the video versions of these episodes that are always extended, that have Rob and I doing goofy things, like generally either goofy or sexy or maybe a combo of both, you can do that by joining our Patreon. It's the link is in the schnotes below. But enough of the promo. Scheisse. I will go on to back to you, Rob. You are going to name off or not name off the positive people.
So now, many of what you're going to hear are either from personal DMs that were sent to me, and also you will hear from other places. And I'll make sure to tell you where they came from. So this one's from a DM, from a listener who has become quite the fan of the show, and it was a comment for you. I want to know if it's a backhanded comment, but it's actually one of my favorite
All
comments
right.
of the show.
Okay. Let's hear it.
He said, goes, he's a bit of talking about you. He said, he's a bit of an asshole, but in a charming way.
That's
And
valid.
and I said, and I had to respond to him. I was like, and I said, yes, he is, but that's what makes it fun. You.
Listeners, how charming is my asshole is my question. Now, I can confess to being both I can be both an asshole and a dick at the same time. It is not something that is without, it's in the realm, it's in my wheelhouse. I will confess to that. However, please know that if I'm being a dick or an asshole, I'm coming from a nicer place. I'm coming from a good place. When
Yes.
I'm being a dick, I'm coming from a good place. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You're at least you're coming. So I mean, that's
Well,
a good thing.
that was the joke. Thank you, Rob.
That's all right. But
Come,
but
come,
he
come, come,
did
come.
but he did say something. He said, "But aren't we all?" That was the other comment he said.
He did. He said that.
Yes. He
You
said,
laid that
"Aren't
one. You
we
waited.
all?"
You waited for that one to the very end, where he's like,
I'm so evil. I'm sorry.
Yes,
All
terrible.
right. So the next comment, not to cut you off. So our next comment comes from a listener who follows us on Instagram and says, and it's a she. Yes, it's
A
a female.
lady.
A lady. That's right. She says, "How do I find the podcast? I love to support anything you do." And so not only so she follows the podcast, she listens to the podcast, and not only that, but she follows me, and she's like, I gotta check this out, and has commented on how well the podcast is, and
Well,
she really enjoys our humor.
we like whoever you are. If you want to be the first lady Patreon to join, that would be amazing. I would be willing to, like, that would be a show right there. I'd be like,
Yes.
we got a lady online. And speaking of ladies online, I do want to announce that we have officially scheduled Sony Panda for her second interview, which will be coming later on in the month.
Yes.
And we have a Mrs. Tights of Tights Tennis Tights in Tennessee, along with Mr.
Woo!
as well. They have officially confirmed, and that will be on the horizon. So
Yes.
that'd be good to announce that a little bit. So there's going to be some stars coming on the show
and
soon.
and I'm excited, to interview both of them, especially since Mr. and Mrs. Tights in Tennessee, formerly Tights in Florida, they actually helped me with setting up my OnlyFans. So they were very integral in helping us, with answering questions and everything else. They were, I mean, the
They pimped you. They
greatest.
pimped you with love.
They are the most loving people I have ever met, and I'm telling you something, you will enjoy talking to them. And
Oh,
of course, Sunny. Oh,
Sunny's she's a treasure. She is a treasure to our
yes, she
community.
is. Yes,
And
she is.
I know that she's got. I mean, everybody. It's you. How do you not love Sunny? It's just she's just lovable.
And speaking of that, Sunny even responded to our Instagram when I joined the show. She says, "Oh my God, yes, he is such a great guy."
And she is totally wrong. But you know what? I am so happy that she thinks that, because Rob is actually just awful. And you know what
I'm
happens after the
terrible.
show? He actually will beat me. He'll fly down to Florida from Virginia, and he beats me with a like a, what is that Joan Crawford used, like a wire hanger. And then
No wire hangers.
and then he always says, "Okay, talk to you later," and then he leaves. So yeah, no, he's not that nice. He does beat me, but it's good for the show. Okay, so we got a lot of love there, right? So
Oh yeah,
now,
and we got more too.
well, I think before we turn this into I don't want it to turn into like I don't want people to think that we're so full of ourselves that we're not
Oh
acknowledging
no.
that there are some people that hate us. So give me a couple more, and then we're going to go to that letter, because guys, this letter is, I mean, I personally think it's amazing. I love it when people come at me with this kind of vitriol, because it it sets me on fire. So
Uh, yeah. So this gentleman is from a DM on Facebook.
a district
Uh,
manager, yes.
all right. So he actually lives in Florida himself. So I will say that much. And so he understands your pain when it comes to the humidity and hosiery and everything else. He does wear openly, and I'll just leave it at that. And here's he goes, yeah, man, it was hold on, let me start. He goes, just listen to the latest podcast of the Kings. Absolutely loved it. And this is he had listened to the one with Christy Harrison of Car Hosiery. He says Christy sounds like such a down to earth sweetheart,
He
and
is.
much like Sunny. Uh, then he goes, I'm also, let me see. I'm also happy to, okay, he was happy that we mentioned about compression and the feature about production, but he goes, yeah, man, it was absolutely fantastic. Great job. And of course, PK's humor injected into it is funny as hell.
Thank you. I
And
inject.
yes, he said your humor is absolutely spot on and just wicked funny.
Well, flattery will get you everywhere. So just that's the truth. Now comes a letter that I would say, um, I don't think that this would be a person that I would say is a fan. Okay. I think that deep down they are a fan. Do they know it yet? Not sure. And now this is great, because they did claim that they dared us to not read the letter on the show. So of course, we're gonna read it. So this is probably one of the more entertaining, I'd say, criticisms I've ever received. So here we go.
Yeah,
Starting.
it was very interesting. Very
Okay,
interesting. Go ahead.
starting. Your show is a perversion. You think people listen to you because they like you? No, they listen because they are shocked by what they hear, and they listen to hear all the sick, twisted things the show is about. Two grown two grown men dress up in pantyhose because they say it feels good and turns them on. Yeah, right. Does it feel good to turn into a woman? Okay.
Uh,
Um,
hold
that's a good
on.
question. Um,
Yeah, we're going to unpack that one here in a
we
moment, but
will.
go
We got a
ahead.
deep thinker.
Yeah.
How long before you change your pronouns if you haven't already? Well, I mean, I don't know.
I, I prefer me, myself, and I, but
I
go ahead.
also, like, I mean, I'm cool with my pronouns. Like,
You know,
but the worst thing is, the worst of all is Pantyhose King, as he is a gay and does not seem to care that he's going to go to hell. You're right. I don't care.
No.
We all know what the Bible says about gay men, and I bet there are no pantyhose in hell. You're probably right.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
think that there are pantyhose in hell because it's hell, right? There
No.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
any there. And he may have smooth legs and shiny pantyhose, but nobody is looking at them because they're desirable. Certainly not me. Who wants to?
Hmm, I'm starting to notice a pattern here.
Yeah, well, I don't want to tell him the pattern because I don't think he knows. Who wants to see a big giant man with pantyhose on their legs? Speed King should also feel ashamed because he is a family man and he should know better than to be associated with such a degenerate.
Hold on.
You should know better. You okay? You should know better than to associate with a degenerate.
Oh my God. My parents should have taught me better.
They really should have. It's a terrible, terrible fail. You can wear your pantyhose in private and not spread the message to your children that men are allowed to wear women's clothing in public. These are addicts, and pantyhose is their, I love this, is their oxycontin, spelled oxy, COTTON, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
oxycontin, like the fabric. Not all of
Yeah.
us have to. Not all of us have to give into our pantyhose. Oh, I'm sorry. Not all of us have to give into our urges of the devil, and some of us are living a righteous life by denying our urges to sin. I would love to come on your show and explain to you every reason why what you're doing is ruining America and other civilized countries. But I doubt you would even do that because you're too frightened to hear the truth instead of the lies you want to hear from other pantyhose perverts. But either way, I will pray for you. Oh, to know the truth, and what you are doing is why the world will likely be in Armageddon soon. Marshall. Wow.
Mm. Oh.
I mean,
Oh. Well, bless your heart, Marshall.
thank you.
I'll make sure to pray for you, sir.
I got to tell you, being Jewish and gay, I've never heard somebody tell me I'm going to hell for anything. So it's like by the time I got into pantyhose, I'm like, what do I do that isn't going to send me there? I mean, I I can't. I was born to go to hell, and then I was born to go to hell, and then I was born to go to hell. I'm like, I'm not terribly worried about it. But he does bring up a good point. We are addicts like Oxycontin. Like,
Oh yes.
mm-hmm.
I'm
But
I'm addicted. I'm addicted. I'm addicted to most things, which is usually coffee, pantyhose, and a good movie. But I
ooh, those
mean,
are like three. Those are three devil things, right?
oh my
Now,
gosh, oh yes,
so Marshall, yeah, I want you to contact us. You can contact us either you can contact the show on Instagram. You can also contact either Rob or I separately. Come on the show. We would love to debate this with you because you have some very interesting points. And this really goes back to, this is a very I hate to say, this is a very like typical letter, Rob. Wouldn't you say so?
yeah.
Of the
It's
kind of,
it's very typical. It's very typical of stuff that I would see in most areas for people who don't seem to understand or try to shove things down your throat, if you know what I mean. But first I gotta say something. I gotta say something.
you do.
I notice
Go
how
ahead.
I notice how he I mean, well, hold on. Let me pull this back up here. So I have the thing he might have a crush on you.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say that because that's not my place to say, but I mean,
I
who
mean,
wants
he
to
was
see a
saying,
big who wants to see a big giant man with pantyhose on their legs? I don't know.
yeah, well, who,
Yes,
who may have smooth legs with pain. I mean, come on. I mean, let's talk about
thank
this. He's
thank you for
he's
noticing.
fanboying you. Yes, he's
You know,
fanboying you. Come on.
well, I mean, with fans like that, who
I
needs
mean,
enemies?
seriously. I mean, let's look at this, man. How many times have we come across somebody who sit there and make fun of us or give a negative comment or something, only to find out secretly that they say, "Hey, is it really true that they feel that good?"
I
We,
would, and this is the honest to goodness truth, listeners out there. If you ever receive this, if you ever receive any sort of public shaming about this, I can guarantee you that's a curiosity because I can tell you every single time that I have received negativity, if they have contacted me in private, it is always the exact opposite. They're curious. They're more than curious. Sometimes they've even worn themselves. Most of the time they
Oh
have.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So the whole line from Shakespeare is, the whole "Methink the lady doth protest too much." Whenever anybody is giving you such pushback and you can't really see why it is, I mean, I guess this person's, Marshall, like, he gave me the name, so uh says that it's because of, we're bringing the world to the, bringing on the end of the world. Now, that's fine if that's actually what's happening, but I'm pretty sure that what we're doing right here is not like global warming or, you know,
No.
like the threat of nuclear bombs. I just don't see that.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it being a pair of pantyhose nuking a city anytime soon or going to war.
No.
I doubt that seriously. I mean, there's much more bigger problems out there. You know, like I don't know, China, Russia.
I mean, if he's talking about America and other civilized countries, which I'm wondering what are uncivilized countries? I don't want to know. I'm
I
sure
don't
that
want to know.
that list is probably as offensive as this letter is. Okay, because it is offensive, and we're making light of it because both Rob and I we're lucky in a sense that we never really were dealt. We Shame was not a big factor for us as wearers, and we
No.
do understand this because I was actually talking to a younger wearer who actually, and to bring it back to a little lighter note, they actually had said and appreciated that the last episode that we did, they said, we made an excellent point about the fact that even people who are in the public space really try to sweep the aspect, and when they say aspect of the fetish, under the rug, to say it's something that needs to be talked about. And they said it's not to say it's something that needs to be talked about all the time, of course, but it's almost like people act as if any acknowledgement somehow invalidates your attempted normalization of the whole thing. And that was from Big Head 47. And I really thought that was wonderful because he said to me, he felt like we were not bullshitting, and that's the truth, is that we want to normalize it. We can normalize it, and there's nothing wrong with however you get to where you get to. And I had talked a little bit with Miss Tights in Tennessee about how you start out where very strong with it. You could start out very strong with, say, like the fetishization. That was a tough one. And the
Yeah.
older you get, the more it calms down. It's not, and it
Yep.
becomes more about your lifestyle. But there's no shame in that being part of the evolution. And I think that's what I really want people to know, is that there really is nothing to be ashamed of, however you get to where you get as far as wearing. But I do want people to realize that if you shame somebody because of the fact that they're not embarrassed by the fetish aspect, you are doing more harm than you can even imagine.
And not only that, but also if you do wear openly, the one thing I always try to tell people is own your look. Own what you have. I don't care if you're wearing 10 denier or if you're wearing 150 denier.
Not in
Doesn't
Florida, you
matter.
would die. You would just
But well, I don't know. It gets pretty bad here in Virginia too. Once the
Florida
humidity
wins.
kicks in.
Florida wins.
Oh, hands down. Y'all win all year long. Come on.
It's a
We just have our few months. But no, but seriously, I mean, that's one thing I always try to tell people who you. I mean, you talk about the shaming aspect. There is no shame to it. If you own the look and you wear yourself confidently, and you wear it, and you walk into the room, the one thing I always tell people: stop looking at your legs. Stop paying attention to them. What you need to do is to just act yourself.
and
I'm not. I'm not saying act normal. Act yourself.
Well, I mean, and the thing about it is that, like, or the way that we talked about it in previous things is, like, it's okay to be nervous about being
Yes,
yourself. Like, that's fine. If
absolutely.
if what you're feeling is nervousness, embrace it. It will calm down. You
Yes.
don't have to do this, and understand we're not pushing people to do this because we're claiming that people who don't wear publicly are somehow chicken or not evolved. We understand completely that there are situations that prevent this from happening, and again, we want to stress
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But we just want people to also understand that a lot of this is, again, it's imposed by your own psychic prison. It's not as external as you think. So unless, like you're living, say, in Saudi Arabia, where it's illegal to be gay and you could be, put to death for like that, I that's a whole other kettle of fish. But like, if you live in a place that is relatively populated, and maybe it's, maybe you can't live in like the Bible Belt, like in like a, town of 40 people where everybody knows everybody's business, that might be tough. But if you live in a
Yeah.
moderately populated area, most people are too busy to give a shit.
Yep.
And the people who do give a shit, they're either going to be people who want to know more about it, or they may find it attractive. It's the easiest
Yep.
way to project out there. A lot of guys, right? They say, how do you get women to know that you're into it? Well, a great way to ice break it without having to make that an uncomfortable discussion on, like, say, date number 3 is if you're wearing when you meet her. That's just gonna pop that bubble right away, and you're gonna go through the riffraff real quick. If she
You're gonna
has,
find that honesty is the number one thing I try to tell people, especially with your wives. Be honest about
well,
it.
you can also be honest with your husbands too, Rob. I mean,
Yes.
like, men deserve
But
honesty too, you bigot. I mean, what's wrong with you?
no,
I mean, maybe Marshall's right. Maybe you have been talking to me of degenerate for too long, because that was a degenerate. You are degenerate.
I'm just a perv. That's all.
It's true, you are. I am both a slut and a whore. Thank you.
No,
So
I just turned into a whore. That's all. I mean, I do it for money. So bring it on.
yeah, well, I don't know if turned into is like what I would use to describe it. I would say there was always a whore bubbling underneath the surface that was just sort of,
Oh, it was there. It was there.
Mhm.
It just needed a catalyst. That's all.
It did. And by golly, you guys, like, check out Rob's OnlyFans. Has he blossomed into such a pantyhose whore? I mean, my hat's off to you. Which, if I had a hat right now, I would take it off. But my metaphorical hat's off to you. And like, I'll tell you. Which, by the way, just a special shout out to Jeff, who, Rob and I had an incredible conversation with Jeff, that was lost to the internet. So
Oh,
we, guys, it murdered our hearts. Like, we had such a
oh,
great conversation,
that
and
was
now,
such a fucking awesome conversation, especially towards the end. It got
yeah,
so
I know.
damn good.
So
Oh,
we're going to recapture that magic. But let me tell you, there's some episodes coming up where we got some people coming on who have gone, and Jeff's one of them, who went from being completely not willing to show their face to the extreme of just, being a performer and really coming into their own. So, and that's no pun, but it's
pun
it that
intended.
and I think that's what I think the show is really going to go to, is we're going to try to go into as many avenues of how can you get rid of that shame that society has put on you. And understand, it is society. It's letters like this where you blame, like, they use religion as a means to make you feel bad about it, which is that's just the age old trick, right? If somebody is
This is coming from a guy who's I am a born again Christian. I will say that. I have no problem saying that. I have my little argument with Mr. Marshall.
Mr.
I have
Marshall? Oh, Mr. Marshall.
Mr.
I was
Marshall.
like, for a second, I was thinking, like, is that the guy who ran the Westminster, the Baptist church? And I was like, no, wait, that guy wasn't the guy who died, the really creepy one, like the
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Oh God,
man, he was just
I had
evil
a
in a
dude.
wheelchair. It was like,
Yeah, this dude, he was a few screws loose. I tell
oh
you.
my God, he was, yeah, like, can you imagine? It was like having the grandfather from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre like come at you and just say, like, hate speech. Oh, it was terrible. But luckily he's dead now, so la di da. Him and yeah, like, thank God, thank God for expiration. It's nature's way of just getting rid of some of the riffraff. I mean, yeah, it takes out the good people too, but focus on the positives, right? Right, Rob? We got to focus on the positives.
We gotta keep it positive. We gotta keep it light right here, man. Come
Hmm.
on.
And but yeah, so I'm going to challenge Marshall. I would love Marshall, come on the show. We'll be nice. Like,
Please,
I,
please, please.
I will even, like, not even show you my smooth shiny legs if you find them to be so reprehensible. Who am I kidding? I'm showing them off. Like,
Oh,
I'll
I'm
be like,
making sure I'm wearing the shiniest thing I got.
I'll
I'm
be
thinking I
like,
might bring the silver.
I'll just be like, so just so that people know now, I'm crossing my legs very like Sharon Stoney, if that would be, it's like, but I'm not gonna like spread them like Sharon Stone, but basic
Oh,
instinct.
come on, you know you're going to spread them like Sharon Stone. Come on,
Yeah, but
let's do it.
I don't have a beaver.
No, but you got something else that'll just make him just beam with pride.
Man,
Come on,
yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like I feel like that scene might not have worked as well if like a ball sack fell out.
Mrs. Man.
Yeah, I feel like that might have. I don't know. I think the illusion, and because it wasn't she wearing pantyhose in that scene, right?
You know what? I think she might have, but then again, you still see it drop out of the shorts.
Well, no, well, Sharon Stone. I think you see that like the pantyhose is the only like
The
barrier between that and
yeah,
the pink.
the
So
the line, yeah, the line, yeah.
yeah, and like that caused a scene that probably had straight men fapping to pantyhose porn from like. I mean,
Oh, I knew friends who would literally would who had the video back when we had videotape that would actually try to do their best to stop it at that point.
this is pre Blu-ray where you had to hit it at the exact right moment, otherwise
Pre
you'd miss it
DVD.
by the millisecond. Oh, kids, I'll tell you, we're old, but let me tell you, the stuff that we did to look at stuff to masturbate to, I mean, you
Oh,
really, really had to work for it. And my personal horror story was having to go to the Borders and get workout magazines
ah,
where and now mind you, these had fold out posters of men in speedos on the beaches, and then they had occasionally had like how to exercises, but it was just guys in their speedos, and it was like I knew it was just but I had to do it because there was no internet, there was nothing, like that's all you had. And I'm sure like I've heard people back in the days that was the Sears catalog that did it for them, like because
oh yeah. For me, it was a Sears catalog.
you were a Sears catalog, yep, at the pantyhose
Yeah,
section
because
was.
oh yes, and you see all the girls in the colorful the shiny leggings or the shiny pantyhose and tights and stuff. Oh yeah, I mean I literally would rip that page out and have it hiding under my bed.
Yep. And then after a while, it becomes unusable.
I'm not even going to go there. We'll just leave it at that.
I mean, you don't want to go there. People, we're adults here, Rob. You blew it all over the Sears catalog, and then you had. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, it did get a little crinkly. I will say that.
And we are crinkly here, but hold 1 second. I'm going to shout at my dogs. Sorry, I had to shout at my dog because they're having a barking match across the
Ah,
street. But that is our short but sweet show this week. We are going to be back next week with scheduled guests. It's going to be
yes.
fantastic. We have some star meet people. We have some like Joe Blows, and we have also some stuff planned for the OnlyFans and the Patreons that's coming up that are a little more naughty. So
Little Nalte, Nalte.
little incentive for you guys there, guys and
Oh
gals. I
yes.
need to be inclusive. I need to stop with that shit. I do. I say it too much. I say guys
What am I?
way too
What am I
much.
going? What am I going to do with you, man? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals. I don't care who. Bring it on.
I don't know what you're gonna do with me. I mean, I am such a charming asshole though, right?
Well, yeah. Well, speaking of that, we also had gotten. I forgot to mention this. We had actually gotten a suggestion. Did I ever tell you this?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear this. Yes, go on.
So, one of our fans had suggested something. Where is it? Uh, Bear with me for a second because I thought this was kind of it was awesome.
All right, let's hear
So
it.
he goes, I know your podcast already has a following, but have you considered taking advantage of the Speed King and the Pantyhose King as the new podcast name, something like Kings of Tights? Well, I got to make a thing right here. We're already the Titans of Tights,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. We're
come
kings.
on,
We're the kings.
we're the
I mean,
Kings.
so go on. You were reading more?
No, that's what he is, or the king size tights.
Well,
I
that
love
sort
that.
of
I actually love that.
king size tights, I'd be like, well, to me, that makes me think of like extra large, like panties. Like it just sort of implies like
Extra
giant.
large.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, I welcome the criticism. The only reason why I would say no is because it's already known as tights frame of mind. And like
Yes.
once people know it as that, it's like even it could be the best idea ever, and we couldn't do it just because there's we got the YouTube link, we got all that stuff, and so it's just out of sheer laziness, I think would be
Yes.
why.
Yes. I would be pretty lazy about it too.
You
But
I
you know
mean
what?
it's
I like it.
yeah, it's like I mean we I mean you stuck with Speed King because that was the nickname you got back in the day, and I got nicknamed
Oh yeah.
back in the day. I mean,
Oh yeah. I always get asked that, say where did I get the name Speed King from?
it
And
was because of your crippling meth addiction, right?
yeah, actually a
Yes.
cocaine addiction.
Oh, cocaine, yes. Ah, you were doing the white pony.
Yes, the white baloney pony. Yes.
The
I
white
got
baloney
you. I got you.
the white
I saw
baloney pony.
I saw that.
How many white baloney ponies have you ridden, Rob?
Just your reaction. Hold on. Patreons, if you're watching this, I mean, you saw the reaction. Hold on.
I,
I love it.
yeah, he got me. He got me. I'll give you that. You got me.
Okay.
You made me smile on the inside.
Sorry.
Oh my god. Oh my
I'm
god.
sorry.
We have fun here on Tights Frame of Mind.
We have
On
way
the
too much fun.
I don't know about that. I mean, think we there's no is there such thing as way too much fun?
No, never.
I
Never.
mean,
Ever.
right. Like I'm sure Marshall might think that there is.
Oh, I'm sure he's enjoying this podcast once we release this. I'm pretty sure he's going to really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this your smooth, large pantyhose legs. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I'm
but
sure.
he'd have to join the Patreon to see that, you know?
Oh, but I mean, I'm sure he probably would join just to say just how degenerate we really are.
Well, and I'll tell you right now, like actually our legs really do look fantastic tonight. I mean, like they really do. Like I mean, like I would if you were not my co-host, I would absolutely hit on you right now. I am that unprofessional.
You know what? I totally believe that. And you know what? I would probably be following the hell out of you right then.
See, you know what, you guys, see, this is the kind of love we have for each other. And you know what? And I have brought Rob over to the degenerate side. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody, come join us in degeneracy and pantyhose wearing and self-acceptance and just stay tuned because we got a lot coming up. We really do.